Yeah, let's get into New York. I'm really enjoying this cast, and you're right, it hasn't been like jam-packed with drama, but I feel like they're bringing it in all sorts of other areas that really kind of make up for that for me. And I mean, this most recent episode, it seems like it's like queuing up the next one to be a real heater. So I'm pretty excited about that. What were your highlights from this episode?
I mean, the highlight, you're right, is the fight that continues, in the next episode between Ubah and Erin. I think that that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most, or what I was looking forward to with this episode. I thought they were going to give us a little bit more than what they gave us. But I like that. Another highlight from this episode, I love the Jessel drama, that they're like, you're a liar, but you're not telling us enough. And like all the back and forth between that and all of her stuff, including the family, but not really including her life. And then her there were a lot of layers to that conversation about trying to get to know Jessel. Mm-hmm. So, which I really enjoyed. I thought that was funny. And those are probably my main highlights. Brynn with the flirting has got to dial it down for me. I know she never will, and that's just how Brynn is. I think the flirting has gotten to the next level where now she's flirting, with our main girl, Jenna Lyons, who I will ride for that woman. She is the apple of everything. Like, I just love her. And I think she is definitely the fan favorite. I think it's very obvious. But I think that the flirting just needs to take a notch down, sweetheart. Like, you're getting to like the lesbian side now of the flirting. I need you to taper it down.
I kind of appreciated how like indiscriminate she is about who she's flirting with. Like, it's like, if she sees that she can potentially like use it to her advantage, she will. And she's like having fun with it. It feels like more authentic to me than it ever has. Like, that's just kind of how she operates, whether or not that's like annoying or funny or whatever. Like, I'm not going to make a moral judgment on that, but for me, I find it like engaging television.
I think it's just funny how much she like changed tactics regard to Jenna, where in earlier episodes we saw her just be like, I've got to like attack Jenna, like I've got to try to take her down a notch and make her look bad to the other girls, kind of like a like go straight for the queen kind of strategy, and that didn't really work for her. So now she's like, all right, I'll just fucking flirt with her. Let's try that instead.
Can we also bring up the fact that Jenna said in her confessional that she loved the prenup? She'd automatically prenup Brynn.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. I would prenup the hell out of Brynn as well. So yeah.
Speaking of Brynn, one thing that I noticed in this episode was like, there's one specific confessional look that we've seen from Brynn through the majority of the past like few episodes. That like session of doing the confessionals must have just like, she must have just killed it for that session, because it's pretty much the only outfit that we have seen in those clips.
Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of the confessional look, but I am a huge fan of her confessional. She has some great one-hitters. Like, she has some very good comical one-hitters. So I'll give it to her on that one.
Yeah.
Dylan, what were your highlights from New York?
Yeah, I also appreciate the drama around Jessel, and I get where the girls are coming from, but it does seem like kind of very unfair to her at the same time to be like, oh, you got to tell us about yourself. No, not like that. You know?
Yeah. And Ubah said it really well in her confessional. Like, Jessel's parents' story is part of her story, right? It's not her complete story, but
yeah,
it's context, and it like shapes who she is as a person. So I mean, if you're asking her to open up, I feel like it's completely fair to be like, this is my parents' experience. You can like take from that how you will, how that shaped my experience. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think like it's completely valid for her to bring that up, especially if she's just trying to share. It's not like she was like being grilled by the cops.
Yeah, for sure. If somebody asks you to tell your story, you got to kind of decide how to do that, and if that's her way to get to it, that's fair. No, it's, I also think it's funny that she's going on about her uncle and shit that nobody cares about. But, it's not fair to coax somebody into opening up and then get angry at them for doing it the way they want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the same thing is happening with Jenna, where they're forcing her to open up, and it's like she's
Mhm.
gonna do it, but you know, you don't have to force anything. I think the whole entire Jessel thing with her parents, bringing up her parents, her uncle, all that stuff, is that Brynn did the exact same thing, but she did it in context, right? She did it where like
Mm.
the two people that were supposed to love her unconditionally, that brought her into this world, they didn't, and this is how it affected my life. Versus I think
Yeah,
Jessel is
true.
just saying like this is her whole entire thing. Now, you know, Dylan's absolutely right. Like everybody has a story and it's always going to include your family. That's just a part of life. That's what it is. I just think that Jessel took the family part and made that the story instead of us knowing about Jessel, and that she had to shed paper in her internship. And that was the only thing that I got out of that whole entire story about her. Now, now I know that her brothers or whatever are photographers, and they had to like sleep in the streets and be homeless in New York. And I know that her parents like came here from Africa and immigrate. Like I know way more about her family than I do about her. And I think that was
Mhm.
the disparaging issue that I had, at least out of their conversation about trying to get to know Jessel. That was my only issue with that. I'm like, you can make your parents the story, you can make your family the story, and it should be this part of the story, but it shouldn't be all of the story. And that's what I
Mhm.
felt like she was doing. I felt like she was giving just the parents' side, just the family side. I don't think that was her intent. I just think that that just happened to happen.
Do you, Jihei, do you think that any of these cast members are going to be like cut? They won't get a season 2?
No, I think all of them are bringing it for now. And also, none of them are adding each other, right? Like, none of them are really truly going after them. I don't think that these girls have any alliances. They're a little bit more
Yeah.
raw, and they're a little bit more. It seems like there's very apparent alliances when it comes to Orange County. Like everybody's coming after Heather. There's very apparent alliances. You know, when you look at other franchises, they're obviously going after somebody. You know, Salt Lake City, et cetera. There's all of them have quote unquote alliances. In this one, I think that they're all genuinely trying to get to know each other and be friends. And I don't think anybody's gunning for somebody's job or pushing for somebody to be out. So I think that they'll renew, and these girls will still all be. We're going to see all of them, even though I think some of them shouldn't be on the show. I think they're a little boring, um, but for the most part, I think all of them are going to stay.
Okay, you got to name names if you say that.
um, with the exception of her IVF story, I'm not a fan of Jessel. I think you can give her the boot. I know this is going to be controversial, and maybe it's just one of those things where you ride for one particular housewife and you love that one particular housewife, but then you hate a housewife, and there's no coaxing, there's nothing you can say, there's nothing you can do, there's nothing that you can do to change my mind. I'm just not going to like this person, or her character or whatever on the show. And that's Sai. I'm just not a fan. I don't like her. So I'd be okay if she left, if she was gone. Everybody else I love. I think that they're great. They're good television. Brynn's amazing TV. Like she's epic.
Oh,
Bravo television. She exudes what reality TV is supposed to be. She's great. Erin brings it as far as being a housewife. She definitely brings the drama. She brings, you know, the controversy, whatever. She's the one that's the pot stir. So you kind of need that. I guess Sai is and Sai's not really a villain. And what's with the complaining about the food? Like, do you really have a tapeworm? Maybe like you love, it's a lot, man. It's just a lot. So, and I mean, if she's going to leave because she wants to leave, she's not going to leave because she gets forced out.
Dylan, did you have any other highlights from New York?
I did think it was a good episode for Ubah. I like how Ubah really kind of bucks the gang. She often doesn't like go in for kind of the pack behavior, like when like when she takes Jessel's side in her story, kind of almost unexpectedly, I would think. And it is kind of reminiscent of how like when everybody was taking Brynn's side against Erin because Erin was being kind of humorless about the flirting thing, and Ubah was like, well, no, wait. Erin's got a point here. I like that Ubah doesn't go along with the pack, that she often seems to be kind of coming up with her own opinions. I like that she continues to say weird things, like something was in the back of my oblongata. And I think she kind of is right to be mad at Erin because, you know, hiding somebody's phone is maybe not like a horrible crime, but it is a very bad prank. Like, it's just not funny. It's just not a funny thing to do, I think, to hide somebody's phone. So I'm kind of on Ubah's side for that.
Yeah, this whole like prank thing, I was surprised that this scene that we got between Erin and Ubah that we got at the very end of this, that has been teased so much leading up to this episode, that it was about like a prank war gone wrong. Like
Yeah.
that was not what I was expecting whatsoever. And Erin said in her confessionals like earlier on in the episode, like, I grew up with brothers and pranking is part of my DNA. Then how is she like so bad at it and so like humorless? Like
Yeah.
even when she was trying to get revenge on Ubah after dinner, trying to push her into the pool when Sai eventually did, like she was just making it so lame. Like it was painful to watch.
It was funny like, though how it was it was drawn out like an execution scene in like a gangster movie. It was like a Scorsese movie scene. It was like, it's like when De Niro realizes he has to bump Jimmy Hoffa in The Irishman. It's just like this slowly dragged out realization. It was kind of funny.
Can I mention the fact that Dylan has like the best references, by the way? Like every time that you like compare something in Housewives history, it's always like an amazing reference. I just wanted to point that out.
It's usually just like the last movie I watched, to be honest.
Was The Irishman the last movie you watched?
No, actually, it's been a while, but I'm always watching it in the back of my mind.
The other thing I want to bring up was this scene where they were all sharing their most embarrassing moments. I really like that we got this put in there as like a contrast to like Jessel's storytelling about her past, like how she did, like the girls had a point. She did seem like she was more open and honest when she was telling this story. It just like read as more authentic. So having that contrast was really funny, especially like compared to all the other stories that were told.
Yeah, Erin's not beating the humorless charges with her like, oh, embarrassing story. Once my kid was crying on a plane.
Yeah. I have to
just pass if you don't have anything better.
Yeah, right. I'm a huge Erin fan. I know that sounds controversial. I don't think a lot of people like her. I actually love Erin, and it's also probably because I used to live in New York, so like I had a lot of friends that were from the city that acted exactly like this. So for me, I'm like this kind of girl is like I'm used to this kind of girl. But that being said, she's got to do better when it comes to those embarrassing stories. Your kid was embarrassing. Yeah. Stop. Like you can come up with something better. I'm sure. Like I'm sure you had like when you got bat mitzvah or something, you had something embarrassing happen to you. Like these girls are going way back into their Rolodex of embarrassment. Like you can up your game a little bit on that one. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed in Erin with that.
Jenna's story was absolutely amazing. Like,
it was great.
It was fantastic. Yeah, Rafe Fiennes like being the big like reveal. I don't know. I thought it was great.
Fun cameo.
Yeah. No, I mean that's why Jenna's awesome.
Yeah, am I the only one who thought his name was supposed to be pronounced in some fucked up way, like Rafe Fiennes and not like Ralph Fiennes? Did I just dream that?
It's Rafe Fiennes, I think.
Yeah.
I think the last name is pronounced normally, but the first is like Rafe.
Right.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. I thought there was some fucked up pronunciation there. By the way, do you know his brother's full name? I'm going to look this up right now because I looked up once Joseph Fiennes and was just like laughing for a whole day when I saw that his full name is Joseph Alberic Twistleton Wycombe Fiennes. This is... You know that Monty Python like upper class twit of the year skit where they all have like these absurd like rich people names? That's the best one I've ever heard.
Did you ever watch
that's did you make that up or was that real?
That's real. Look up his Wikipedia. I just read it off Wikipedia now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's having one of the Fiennes brothers show up as like the judgmental person who picks you up is just an amazing way to end a story like that. So good.
Do you guys have anything else from New York before we move on?
Quickly, it will be hypocritical because I was making fun of Heather for wearing a wetsuit, but Jenna does look good in a wetsuit. You can look good in a wetsuit. It's kind of like Charlotte Rampling and Orca. It's a really good look for some people, especially if you're long like Jenna is.
I was about to say, I'm like, I didn't mind Heather in the wetsuit. I didn't think she looked horrible. She didn't look great.
No, but she didn't look bad. It was just funny in the situation because they're on a slip and slide.
Yeah. As opposed to like, yeah. No, I mean, but Jenna can make anything look elegant. To be honest, let's get real. Like that woman can make anything look elegant.
Well, let's keep moving our